Do you remember that time where Ford and Mazda were best friends? Well, they built the Ford Escort together. No, not the really cool one over in Europe, but the one here in the United States. This Escort ran a 1.8-liter four-cylinder engine. That might sound familiar. It's the same engine out of the Mazda Miata. So what happens when you take this platform and say, I wonder if I can make it fast? This Ford Escort has a fully built motor with a different compression and a big turbo on it, making 600 wheel horsepower, making this a 10-second sleeper. And honestly, the experience is really hard to describe. So what's it like driving a Ford Escort with 600 horsepower? Let's go for a drive and find out. Dude, what's up?
What's going on?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been quite some time.
Anyway, go ahead and introduce yourself because you weren't on camera for the first time we did it. You were kind enough, threw me the key, said, go have fun, go enjoy it. But I thought it was better for the second time around, especially because you've gone through one heck of a journey with this thing.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Antonio Stovall, Stovall's Garage. I'm sure there will be some links somewhere. I can't think of them.
Yep, I'll put them down. I'll put them down. The first time I drove this, you hit me up in an email and said, hey, David, I heard you were in Florida. You should come out and drive my Escort. I'm like, an Escort? What the heck? And then I looked at the photos and I immediately canceled all of my plans. Said, I have to go see this. And then you said, can I bring some friends?
Yep.
I said, absolutely. And they all had cool cars. Super fun filming day, but now this thing turned all the way up, made what, like 600 wheel?
Yeah, it was like 608 and like 500 foot-pounds. A tad bit more than my original goal of 300, so.
Because this was a, as you said, oh yeah, I'll just get something to goof off with and mess around with, and now it did a 10-second quarter mile.
Yep.
136. People who don't know about this car, it's a Fomoco car, right?
Yep.
So it uses a Mazda 1.8 engine from the Mazda Miata for the most part, except it's front-wheel drive. And after that, I mean, you basically boosted it, you did everything right, you fully built it, and then you made like 400 last time we hung out, if I remember right.
First time it was just a rods and piston build. It was on like an eBay turbo. I bumped the compression, went from 8.5 to 1 to 9 to 9 to 1. I mean, really not that big of a difference. I built a new turbo manifold, so I went from a log style manifold to a tubular style manifold, and I got rid of the crush bent 3-inch exhaust and built a 3.5-inch exhaust all the way back. And I think that made the biggest difference because, like, on 33 pounds on the old setup, it made like 460.
On 33 pounds?
Yeah, on 33 pounds.
Wow.
On 33 pounds on this setup, it made like 550.
Wow, so just doing the manifold, the better flow, all that kind of stuff. You also went fuel tech.
Yep, also went fuel tech. That's the,
yeah.
Probably the biggest thing to help everything. Time-based algorithms and stuff for launching the car. Like, you just put your foot down and pop the clutch, and it basically takes care of the first 60 feet for you.
Oh my God, that's so nice.
That's freaking amazing.
Because that's probably your most difficult section, right? When you're doing quarter miles of like pedaling it or trying to get it off. Now you just dump it and go.
Yep.
Yeah, and I love your control panel, like rolling start, send it, traction control, burnout. Like, it's so like idiot proof with your traction system now. You're just like, yep. And Fuel Tech's only an hour from me in Georgia, and they are just super smart people, man. They're just good people.
It's Street Card Plus.
Yes, you can drive it on the street, but what I love is you look down at your footwell, you have your fuse boxes, all that. But that makes it so easy to work on because everything's so accessible. Have you ever been in the passenger seat?
No, it's the first time. First time since the rebuild, let's put it that way.
Wow, dude. Well, cars always feel faster from that side. Always, man. Of course, you're going to get torque steer. It's just part of it. But it's not as severe as last time.
Yeah, no, it's not as bad. it's so deceiving because it hits limiter, so your instinct is this shift.
Yep. You probably just stay in there.
You gotta stay in it a little bit and get the mile an hour up a little bit.
Right.
Otherwise, you hit the next gear and it's way out of power.
Whenever I hung out with fast front-wheel drive car guys, limiter good.
Yep.
It's almost like the complete opposite.
Yep.
Like, all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive is like, stop.
Yep.
You're gonna hurt the drivetrain,
yep.
right? No, they're like, no, you gotta hook up sometime.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah. And it's fun. It just sounds cool,
You had the bumpers on it last time, and then you said it just got old.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, let's change the bumpers. I like it. I love how sleeper this thing is.
Nice.
Like, it's so sick.
Yeah, because like regardless of how fast it looks, it's still an Escort, so people just kind of underestimate it.
They probably just think some guy was naive and said, this is going to be my project car,
Yep.
and then they see the drag seats in it and go, well, I think the two big things I've noticed too is your shifter,
Yep.
which you said you retrofitted from a TSX.
Yeah, so it's from a Acura TSX. So yeah, it's a transmission from a Toyota MR2. It's an E153. It's probably like the stoutest transaxle you can find out of like an OEM car. Like you look at the gears and it looks like something from like a diesel or something. It's like it's ridiculous. Like the transmission that came out of the car weighs like maybe 55 pounds.
Okay.
This thing's like a solid 80. It is a super substantial. Get it up to like 5,000. And there you go. Hit that.
Hit it?
Yep.
Woo! Yep. Good car. Yeah, the roll start works real good.
Yeah, it works real great. It's like it's incredible. Like that's the only solution for a big turbo on a small engine. It'll lock you in at your mile an hour or at your RPM, and it'll just start cutting timing and build a crap ton of boost.
It certainly worked.
Yeah. If it actually had traction, it would be a lot more impressive.
There's probably no way to all-wheel these.
Yeah, no. So technically, yes.
Okay.
There's a few options. One, since this has a Toyota transmission, you can actually you can take the RAV4 drivetrain.
Wow, I never thought about that.
Yeah, so you can do the RAV4 or the Celica All-Track.
Like a GT4?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you can do that. That's actually where this swap came from. So guys, so this platform, not to be confused with like the European Escort.
Yeah.
It's actually Japanese based. Basically North America and Australia and New Zealand. They did get what was called the Ford Laser.
Okay.
And they had what was called the TX3, which was an all-wheel drive turbo version of it. So it was basically a Mazda 323 drivetrain inside of an Escort body. But those guys ran through the same problem that I went through, which was just eating through transmissions. And somehow they figured out that you could put that the Celica All-Track transmission was a close enough fit, and so they pioneered the swap. And when it came stateside, we didn't really care about all-wheel drive as much because we never got to taste that to begin with. Those all-track transmissions are super hard to come by, but the RAV4 transmissions are pretty plentiful.
So you basically use a hodgepodge of all sorts of different cars to kind of make sense. So you also use parts from an FCRX7 too, if I remember right.
So yeah, to get the axles to fit, so it's a Toyota transmission with axles from a 88 Camry, or ball joints from a like 89 or from a FCRX7. And so it's just like all these random things. But the cool thing about all that is that they're just off the shelf like O'Reilly's like axles, and they just bolt in.
Because you said the bumpers you can get from Puerto Rico. Of course. Of course. No, it's funny how when you're in the top gear, you're just cruising about.
It's pretty well behaved, and it's not for a 3.5-inch exhaust with no mufflers. It's not.
I didn't realize it had no mufflers. Wow.
It has one muffler. It has a small, vibrant, ultra-quiet resonator, but it's like the size of a shoebox. It's a.
Your shifter last time was a man shifter.
Yeah.
Just bare bones, nothing there. Like, it'll be all right. Just go drive it, David. So you were talking about, to me, which is interesting, and I think a lot of people don't know this with some other Turbo 4 platforms, is this thing's really happy up top. Right? Under that, you're pushing a lot of load, and it's not that happy. So if you're goofing off, you need to make sure you're past 4,500.
Yeah, pretty much. Like
What's it redline to, actually?
Right now it's at the 8,000.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm sure this thing back half's like a
Yeah.
mofo.
Yeah, no, it's like it's funny going to the track and seeing something like a Fox body run like a 10.6 at like 120.
Yeah.
And this thing went 10.6 at 133. You know, that's like the
13
best,
miles
the
an hour
best I can
more.
do. You know, off the line is such a freaking challenge.
But
with
this helps a lot, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it does help a lot.
I just think it's cool because your whole philosophy of this car, I think a lot of people can relate to, but they can't quite grasp going through it.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, oh, I found something really niche. I found something really weird.
Yeah.
It has potential, but you got to put in the work. You know, you've put in your own R&D work for years on this thing, you know? And it was funny, last time you came, you said, yeah, I just put a new transmission in it last night.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy is a G. Like, just making it happen, man. Sounds good. It sounds like a Miata with a lot of sauce, you know? I think a lot of people sleep on the 1.8s, you know?
No, they're very underrated engines.
Well, maybe it's because they have this reputation of being like boat anchors in a Miata.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're slow, but they're fun.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, you know, I had fun with my 1.8, but I'm moving on to whatever. Your engine bay, you might not think so. I've always loved your engine bay.
Oh,
I think
awesome.
it looks really, really nice.
Nice. Thanks.
It sounds so unique, man. It's so unique.
Yeah, it sounds very like 4G63 to me.
It does.
Yeah.
You are completely right. All right, go a little bit more. All right. Dude, that is so rad. You know, last time I was in the car, I kept trying to think, what does this sound like?
Yeah.
It feels like a front-wheel drive Evo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it again. It feels so much more stout than last time. The subtle changes you did.
Yeah, I think the cage really stiffened things up like a lot.
Right at 45, $5,000, it's so happy.
Yeah, you
like,
can hear
it's
the turbo
like,
starts pulling and whatnot.
yeah, because I can definitely tell, say if I was in second or in the wrong gear, it would not
Yeah,
like
no,
it.
there's nothing there.
No.
There's like nothing there.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, plus the cam gears are slightly tweaked to push the power band up, so like, you know.
I'm just proud of you, man, just sticking with it, man. You could have easily been like, all right, that's enough. And you just made the car better and better. And dude, once again, thank you so much. I had a wonderful time driving this thing. This thing is no joke, man. It's so fun. It's so raw. And there's so many cars nowadays that don't have this anymore.
It's very visceral.
Yeah, to say the least, that especially that left front tire.
Yeah.
It's certainly visceral.
Yeah.
On that note, I typically upload on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Bye-bye.